Hi everyone, this is Jason from Metal Flesh. Today I'm going to try and rank the entire Savatage discography from Getting the Bean tier all the way up to From Here to Eternity. This is going to be a slightly difficult ranking because they've got fairly really good albums and it's quite hard to spread them out. As always, I'm going to try to pick two highlight songs from each album. I'll try not to go for the obvious hit songs. We're going to kick things off with 1983 Sirens. This one is a raw and aggressive debut album rooted in early US heavy metal. We've got sharp riffs, frantic energy, and a young John Oliva hitting those high notes that he's known for. It's quite primitive, it's chaotic at places, but this is a pure underground heavy metal album. For me, the highlights here will be Holocaust and Sirens. This is a very strong debut album. I'm just going to put it on B tier only because of what followed through afterwards. Dungeons Are Calling EP followed up rather quickly. This is a major leap in confidence and songwriting, although it was recorded all in the same session as Sirens. This is darker, heavier, and more theatrical EP as it introduces the Savatage signature for the dramatic flair that they're known for. Comparing this to Sirens, this is a more focused and sinister than Sirens. It's a crucial and traditional release. Highlights for me will be City Beneath the Surface and The Dungeons Are Calling. For me, this is a solid A release. Power of the Night followed in 1985. It's a fast, aggressive US power metal with improved production and sharper execution. The band seems to lean more into speed and intensity, more disciplined than the EP, but less atmospheric. Highlights for me will be Fountain of Youth and Power of the Night. This for me is just like a B tier. 1986, we see the release of Fight for the Rock, or as John Oliva refers to, Fight for the Nightmare. This one is a controversial album influenced by the label's pressure. The label forced the band to write material which is hard rock and radio friendly. Some of these songs were written for Journey, but the record label just said to Savatage, just record and release it under Savatage, you're going to become really rich. Highlights for me will be Crying for Love and Fight for the Rock. This one's a get in the bin tier. Hall of the Mountain King followed in 1987. This is a instant classic. This is the definition of a classic album. This is the high of Savatage. We've got epic songwriting, dark fantasy themes, and Chris Oliva, which actually is like a rock god on this album. You can hear his iconic guitar riffing, his playing, and his soloing. He actually elevated the entire band to a new level. It's a massive creative breakthrough, heavier and more confident. Highlights will be 24 Hours Ago and Strings Wings. It's really hard to pick any highlights on this one, so I picked up these two. This one for me is a From Here to Eternity. Gutter Ballet followed in 1989. This is a bold fusion of heavy metal and classic music and Broadway style drama. It's a preparation for what will come next. Anyway, this album is more emotional, theatrical, and deeply personal. Comparing this to Hall of the Mountain King, this is more progressive and emotional, with less metal but more accuracy in music and more artistic. Highlights will be Unholy, The Unholy, and When the Crowds Are Gone. For me, this is another From Here to Eternity. I'm just going to put it in front of the Hall of the Mountain King. Streets, a rock opera, followed soon after that. It's a direct continuation, I believe, of Quatre Ballet. This one is a concept album telling a tragic urban story. It blends metal, rock, theatrical storytelling all together. It has got some narratives in between songs. Highlights for me will be Agony and Ecstasy and Tonight He Crings Again. You have to really listen to this album. It will need a few listens more than the other Savatage releases. For me, this is a A-tier release. Edge of Thorns followed in 1993. It's a darker, heavier album, and it has a grittier production. This is the last album featuring Chris Oliva on guitar, and we've got the introduction of Zach Stevens, new singer for the band. At the time, John Oliva was having some vocal cord issues, so they got Zach in. This album, comparing to the previous ones, is less theatrical and more grounded and heavier in consistency, comparing this to Quatre Ballet and Streets. Highlights for me will be He Carves His Stones and All That I Bleed. For me, this is another From Here to Eternity release. Handful of Rain saw the light in 1994. This album is the first without Chris Oliva, and reading the liner notes of the most recent reissue, John Oliva actually recorded every single instrument, all the guitars, the bass, the keyboards, even the drums. He got Alex Skolnick from Testament in just to play a few solos, and Zach Stevens on vocals. This is heavier, darker, and more introspective, driven by grief and determination. This one is my recent refines of the album. Initially, when I first listened to it, I didn't really like it. I kept on leaving it on the side, but recently I just rediscovered it, and it's absolutely amazing record. Highlights for me will be Chance and Nothing Going On. For me, this is a straight A tier. I'm just going to put it just a fraction in front of Dungeons. Dead Winter Dead saw the light in 1995. This is introduction of the orchestration. This is the first Trans-Siberian Orchestra album before Trans-Siberian Orchestra was formed. This is a more cinematic, and I basically took the Streets album, the concept of it, and put loads of orchestration and symphonic and just created this cinematic story. It's less guitar focused and it's got loads of emotions, and you have to listen to this album. Highlights for me will be Doesn't Matter Anyway and One Child. For me, this is a tier. It's just going to go in front of Streets. The Wake of Manzellen was released in 1997. It's another concept album inspired by a real world tragedy. It's progressive, atmospheric, and emotionally complex. This, comparing to Dead Winter Dead, isn't as great. I remember when I first got it, I used to listen to it a lot, but comparing it now to Dead Winter Dead or Handful of Rain, it's rather like a mixed bag of songs. Highlights will be Paragons of Innocence and Turns to Me. For me, this is like a C tier. Which brings us to Savatage's latest release, which was 2001 Poets and Madmen. It's a return to a heavier riffs with the darker themes. It features John Oliva's back on vocal performance. Um, it's it's basically a rehash of, let's say, rehash of some of the Power of the Night elements, some of the Handful of Rain and Dead Winter Dead, mashed together with a more straightforward, none of this cinematic or orchestra stuff, straight heavy metal album from start to finish. Highlights from me will be the epic song of Morphine Child and Isaac Power. For me, this is a straight A release album. So there you have it, the entire Savatage discography, rank from Get in the Bin all the way up to From Here to Eternity. Till the next time, stay heavy.